before we get started, let's talk about a scenario that you might have run into in your day-to-day tasks. Whenever you have maybe a set of drawings that you want to bring forward to a later version of Civil 3D, you have to open each one, save it, close it, so on and so forth. Same thing if you have a batch of drawings, maybe that you got from somebody else, with whoever you're collaborating with on a project. You want to clean those drawings before you start to work with them and put them into the working environment. So with Autodesk Civil 3D 2019, there is a batch save utility that is shipped with the product. So we can use this utility to do multiple things for us and have it do it on multiple drawings instead of just having to go through opening and closing, opening and closing. That utility is found underneath your Civil 3D 2019 install. So if I go to that folder here in Windows, Civil 3D 2019, and I select Autodesk Batch Save Utility, this is what you will see. Before we get started talking about everything that we can do with this particular utility, there's a couple things I want to make you aware of. Number one, if you're going to run this utility, you want to have Civil 3D closed. So we will go ahead and close Civil 3D. All right, and you can just run this utility just open on its own. So a little bit of background around the utility and why product came up with this utility. This utility was originally used to fix the file bloat situation or problem that we had with Civil 3D drawings. And this actually fixes that problem from 2014 or the 2014 version all the way to the 2019. It'll fix it on all versions. So for 2014 and 2015, it will run, if you run this utility, it will fix that situation of the file bloating. And if you run it on a drawing that is either a 2016 or 17 drawing, there's one thing you need to make sure of, and that is that the software is completely up to date with hot fixes and service packs. So if you're wanting to open and convert a 2016 drawing, then you want to be, like I said, you want to be sure that you have all the hot fixes and the service packs for 2016. All right. Then whenever you run this utility, it will go ahead and fix those problems, the file bloating, as it should. Okay, so the first thing you see here is Target Civil 3D version. So if I hit that down arrow, you're going to see three different versions here of Civil 3D. These versions that you see, 2019, 2018, and 2017, they're showing up here because I have all of those versions installed on my machine. So we could have all the way back to 2014 Civil 3D installed. So 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 all installed. And if they were on this local machine, you would be able to see all of those versions of Civil 3D here in this pull down. And again, because I only have these three, that's what we're seeing today. We're going to run this utility on 4 drawings. It's going to bring them up to the Civil 3D 2019 version. Another thing that we can do here is we can actually run a custom script. That's where it does the cleaning of the drawings. All right, it's all ran by a script. I'll show you this script here in just a second. What you need to understand is that it's any script that you can type in at the command line or run. It will actually allow you to run that here in this custom script area. Notice that we do have the default clean script. If I select edit, I can show you what that script reads. It's very simple. It's going to run this default clean.list. Now this is actually included with the software, so this is something that is out of the box. Let's take a look at this list file and see exactly what it's going to do. So where do we find this list routine? I'm going to go ahead and close the default clean custom script. And you can see here that in the program data Autodesk Civil 3D 2019 batch save tool scripts directory, all right, we have our list routine. So if I just selected and open this particular list routine with just Notepad, we can take a look at what it's going to do. So again, it's just a typical list routine. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up and it's going to run the dash purge, it's going to run an audit, it's going to save, so on and so forth. So it's going to automate this for us. This is something that we do all the time to keep data as clean as we possibly can. And this will definitely help with speeding up that process. It's going to run that automatically here. And again, you can add any custom script that you'd like to run against these drawings. and you can add that in right here as a custom script. All right, so we've got a directory that's already here. I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to go ahead and select a specific target folder for the drawings that I want to run this utility on. So I'll scroll out here to my data folder, and we'll pick this original Civil 3D drawings updated. Okay, I've got the original drawings here. I'm going to select this folder so that the drawings that are in this folder will be updated. So I'll go ahead and hit select folder, and it's going to pick that folder. Now, you saw another folder inside of that particular directory. I want to exclude that folder, and this is why, all right, because I've got information in here that it doesn't need to actually look at and try and modify. There may be drawings in this particular folder that you don't want updated. All right, so we can select that folder, and it will exclude any of those files in that particular folder. Stepping on down, if you look here, it will skip drawings that are read-only, that have been previously batch saved, because there is a log file that is placed with those drawings so that it can look at that and it can tell that whether it's been batch saved or not. Any drawings not created with Civil 3D, meaning like a regular vanilla AutoCAD file, or maybe a Plant 3D file that has the information has been generated in those two products, it will not run the utility on those. It will basically skip them. Incompatible with target Civil 3D version, if it will actually skip those if you have this checked. Here's something that is very key. You can actually have it look for when it was saved before and saved after. So if you've got a specific date range that you don't want to batch save, then you can actually add that in here, and it will skip those drawings also. Now, a couple of things under process settings. You can have it automatically delete the backup files when it saves it. You can watch the information that happens in the command window if you'd like. It'll show it instead of running it in the background. And something that you probably need to go ahead and have set to be on with a check mark is this timeout for a drawing. So if it gets to a drawing that it has an issue with, meaning the drawing's corrupted or something like that, you want to give it a timeout time frame so that it will, once it gets to, as it says right here, 20 minutes, then if it's tried to update or run the utility on that drawing for 20 minutes and it's not successful, then it'll just bypass it. It'll go ahead and stop working on that drawing, and it will go on to the next. Okay, you can set this to 5 minutes, whatever you'd like. I've just got a default set to 20. Now, how many drawings do you want to process simultaneously? It's default set to 4. You can set it to whatever you'd like, but I'm going to leave it here today set to 4. All right, so the last thing we have to do is just go ahead and run this utility. All right, so we go ahead and we hit start, and you can see here that it's showing me what's going on in my command window, and it says it's fixing the 4 of 4 drawings. So you can see what it's doing here. So it's got each one of those open, and it's saving it up, and it's running the particular utilities, the cleanup utilities that we wanted it to run. All right, so very quickly, it's already done with those 4 drawings. So just imagine if you had a drawing file folder that had maybe 1,000 DWGs. That's not out of the realm of possibilities. Maybe you had a folder structure that was your root directory, all right, of maybe C:, and you had several folders underneath C:, that you wanted to add here for target folders that could add up, file-wise to 500, 600, 700 files. It would be very, very time consuming to do that, to do this cleaning operation one at a time. You can also set this up using the Windows Task Utility in Windows to run this automatically. So once this is set up in this manner, we've got the target folder set, we've got what we want to exclude, if any, and the script set to this, and all of our settings down below. Once this is set up, you can add this as a task, and it'll run it automatically, weekly, monthly, so on and so forth. And it would actually clean, you could have it clean every drawing on your server if you'd like. And again, that's just one thing that you could do. Not that everybody wants to do that, but the cleaner your data is, the better off you are with problems later on maybe. So let's look at the log file. All right, so you can see here in the log file what all that it did whenever we ran the utility. So you can see that it succeeded on each one of the drawings. All right, if it did skip a drawing, it would just say it skipped that particular drawing. If it had issues converting the drawing, it would tell you that here in this log file also. All right, so this log file can be printed. It's just a notepad file. So last thing we'll take a look at is this is the converted set of files. So you can see they're all dated 4.6 here, and before the files were dated 4.5. Notice the file size. All right, they're all 15 meg or around 15 meg, and if we look at the files that were converted, they're all down to about 8 meg. So we've cut those files in half just by running this cleaning utility. And again, you could have achieved this by running each one of these commands individually on each individual drawing, but I think you would probably agree that running this utility is a lot faster and gained the same expectation of that command. So here's the log file itself that is saved with it. If you delete this log file, it will not recognize that these files have had the utility run on them. All right, so make sure that this file stays with these particular DWGs that you've converted, because then when we run another batch save on all of, maybe you add more files to it, it will be able to see if it's previously been batch saved. Okay, if that file's gone and it was batch saved, then it would just run it through the process again. So that's how we use, just one scenario of how we can use the Autodesk Batch Save utility.